So US President Donald Trump is on a multilateral visit to the Middle East. He is stopped over in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. He's in Qatar as well as the United Arab Emirates, all meant to secure major investment deals to bolster the American economy. Trump described himself as a peacemaker while he was addressing the US-Saudi Investment Forum in Riyadh. He reiterated the claim that his administration had helped broker peace between India and Pakistan in order to avert a potential nuclear war between both countries. He went on to say, if at all a nuclear war would have broken between India and Pakistan, it could have killed millions. India has, of course, unequivocally rejected any kind of third-party mediation. It's maintained that the ceasefire understanding with Pakistan was arrived at in the result of direct discussions between India and Pakistan. But the US president continues to insist that it was American mediation that paved the way for this temporary peace between Delhi and Islamabad. Let's first listen in, and also we'll try and analyze some of the big announcements and the big deals that have been signed in Trump's very first foreign visit in his second term.
Just days ago, my administration successfully brokered a historic ceasefire to stop the escalating violence between India and Pakistan, and I used trade to a large extent to do it. I said, fellas, come on, let's make a deal. Let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles. Let's trade the things that you make so beautifully. And they both have very powerful leaders, very strong leaders, good leaders, smart leaders. And it all stopped. Hopefully it'll remain that way.
All right, so he's made this point on a number of occasions now since Saturday when that ceasefire was announced. Stephen Kalin is the Middle East correspondent for the Wall Street Journal. He's now joining us. So like I said, Stephen, I mean, he's mentioned this on social media yesterday in Saudi Arabia a couple of times. I think there was an instance somewhere in Riyadh in one of the occasions where he was speaking. He also referred to both J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and saying that they played a role in bringing about this peace. The government of India, of course, maintains officially that no such thing happened. They may have been sort of via media communication, but ultimately whatever was arrived at between India and Pakistan was arrived at bilaterally. Why do you think Trump continues to say this? I mean, is it for political expediency? Is it to claim credit? We know that he's a peacemaker. He's been trying to do that with Russia, Ukraine, with not much success, I must add. He's been trying to do that in Israel versus Hamas, again, with not much success. So why do you think he's doing this in the context of India and Pakistan?
Yeah, I think it's part of his larger strategy to present himself as a deal maker, both in commercial terms and also in geopolitics. He spent a large part of his speech last night in Riyadh talking about how he wanted to bring peace to the region, sort of the Middle East and the broader region, including India and Pakistan. And this is really what we heard last night in his speech was sort of a repetition of what he said before on social media, what the government, what the White House and State Department have said before earlier this week and last week about the role they said they have in helping to resolve this. And then, of course, also the Saudi foreign minister also shuttled between both countries last week to try to play a role. So I think it was very much in keeping with the mood that President Trump was trying to set. He's obviously looking to resolve there are a lot of conflicts going on in the world right now, and he's looking to play a role in ending as many of them as he can. We're also, just sort of a few miles away. The president's a few miles away in Doha now from Iran, where there are, negotiations have been ongoing for a month or so now between the U.S. and Tehran on ending that, resolving the nuclear issue and preventing, potential other nuclear conflict. So very much in sort of keeping with the larger message he's been sending on this trip.
So just break that down for us, because this current trip, this is his first visit in his second term as president. So he was in Saudi Arabia, he's in Qatar, and then he goes to the UAE as well. These are all Gulf countries, and they have been historically against Iran, against Tehran. And the U.S. has had multiple conversations with Tehran in the last few weeks about its nuclear program. How is Trump trying to sort of append the traditional alliances and cleavages that we know of in the Middle East? He also, I believe, at some point yesterday said that Saudi Arabia will eventually join the Abraham Accords, which is a normalization with Israel, but they will do it at their own time.
Yeah, the region is really the Middle East is really being reshaped in many ways in the last couple of years. Since October 7th, obviously, the Israeli response to those attacks included not only going after Hamas but also going after Hezbollah in Lebanon. That played a role, of course, in the collapse of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad at the end of last year, who was an ally of Iran. There have been direct exchanges between Israel and Iran. So I think there's sort of a broader reshifting and scrambling of traditional alliances. The tensions between Saudi and Iran have been ongoing for decades. They sometimes are more tense than at other times. Sometimes there's sort of moments and periods of rapprochement, which I think the president is trying to encourage that as well. He drew pretty clear lines in his speeches in Riyadh, that Iran, he won't accept Iran having a nuclear weapon, and that they need to stop their funding of proxy groups across the region that are helping to destabilize other countries. The push for normalization with Israel, between Israel and Saudi Arabia, was notable. It came at the top of his speech, but it was quite subtle. He told the Saudis that he thought it would be good for them and good for the world, but also that he knew that they would do it on their own time frame, because at the moment, with the war in Gaza raging, and no real movement to a two-state solution in Israel and Palestine, it's really kind of a non-starter with the Saudis right now. And then the third issue, of course, is Syria, where he agreed to lift sanctions, and that has the potential to really reshift some alliances as well.
I just want one final word. Again, there's been a lot of consternation, a lot of media coverage, especially in the Western press, about Trump accepting this $250 million luxury 747 jet from Qatar as a gift. He's going to sort of refit that and perhaps even use that once he leaves office post-2028. What is his defense to this acceptance of this, very expensive gift?
Well, he was asked about this by reporters before leaving the White House for this trip, and his response was that it would be stupid not to accept a gift like this. He said it was not a gift to him; it was a gift to the American government, to the Air Force that would be taking it on. But of course, it's sparked controversy and criticism, not just in the traditional pockets that the Democratic opposition and ethical watchdogs, but even some Republicans who are normally pretty supportive of the president have come out against this and warned him that it would be a bad idea and a bad look to take this. Now, it's going to be potentially overshadowing the leg of his trip, which has just begun. He just touched down in Doha. But I think again he'll be framing it as a smart move and a way to benefit the U.S. If as long as he avoids he continues to deny personal benefit.
All right, Stephen Kalen, Wall Street Journal correspondent in the Middle East. Thank you very much for joining us.